going from a point of not knowing if you're going to wake up the next morning to a point where you feel great, you don't taste metal anymore. Everything, you can actually taste your food. If you have so much more energy, especially now, where I was working back then, but it was a different type of vibe when you were getting up every morning because I had to do dialysis. I had to be off at a certain time to get home to do dialysis in order to get to work on time the next morning. And, find myself doing little things while I'm still hooked up to the machine to get out of the door. But, when I look at today, being able to just wake up, which is weird. I had to pause the machine, or I had just even to get up to go to the washroom. This was really weird. For those of you who don't understand about dialysis and the freedoms that you have after a kidney transplant, and I'm working, as much as I can, and I've done a number of projects in film and television. I'm able to write, and I have so much more energy. I feel amazing. I still feel blessed. I feel beyond blessed, to be 100% honest with you. And I just feel like, thinking back, and it goes all the way back to the thought process and the understanding that, donors, like if someone did not sign their donor card, I'm not sure if I'd be sitting here today. So I feel blessed and, triumph, like you just saw. I feel like, triumph for me right at this point has been detrimental to just my peace of mind.
Within a month, I was able to be at about 80% capacity. Of course, I was careful with the way I moved, but it was surprisingly quick.
So on that note, what is the first meal you had after your transplant that you really felt excited about?
Potatoes. I love potatoes, and potatoes, unfortunately, are quite high in potassium. So I could only eat them in small doses, or I would have my dietitian upset at me saying, like, why do you do this again? And so, I honestly don't recall the first meal, because I think I was still a little bit drugged up on the painkillers. But I do recall potatoes being the first meal that I was really like, yes, this is the life. So, yeah, some potatoes.
And what, do you want to tell us about the anniversary that you just celebrated?
It's hard to believe that it's been a year, and that the state of my life now is so different from a year prior. When I went into the surgery, I thought I was in great shape. I tolerated peritoneal dialysis extraordinarily well, but now being, a year after the transplant, I realized just how much impact my health had on my overall life. My energy levels are far, far better than I had when I was on dialysis. So, long story short, we're going to celebrate on the weekend just to be able to, really be grateful for the second lease on life I've had.
In 2017, I was referred to the transplant clinic. My doctor at the time said that he thought it was early for me to be referred there, but he didn't see a problem with doing it early. He said there's no real downside to being assessed. So I went there and I was assessed for transplant and approved as a recipient. But it was March of this year that both the transplant clinic and the kidney clinic were stressing to me that, okay, things are getting to the time where you really, you're thinking it's about a year and a half from now, you will probably need a transplant. So it's time for you to start making it widely known and getting more people involved coming up for a donation. But out of the blue, and a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing contacted me on Facebook and said, hey, I hear you need a kidney. I've got two. I'm willing to donate to you. And so that person went ahead and signed up through the kidney transplant process. And that kind of ticked me over. It's like, this person came out of the blue. I better get some more people involved in this. And so that's when I wrote a kind of a more public appeal on Facebook, detailing where I was in the process and what my kidney function level was and things like that. So that was sort of the cry for help. I asked people to step forward, and that's when that happened.
And I know that members of your search and rescue team have also stepped up and...
Yeah, not just my team either. The search and rescue community in BC is 80 teams all over the province. Yeah. And I've been very fortunate over the years to have gone all over the province and met many of them. So members of the SAR community who I don't necessarily know very well are also coming forward to be tested from various places in BC.
In fact, the call out for living donors to search and rescue teams across the province proved to be very successful, with many of Michael's team members stepping forward to be tested. And ultimately, a perfect living donor match was found. Shortly after hospitals were opened for the first time following the COVID shutdown in 2020, Michael's transplant took place, and both he and his living donor are enjoying happy, healthy lives.